As my new intro says, this channel is about roadside America, cars, and more. The topic of this video falls under the "and more" category. I'm going to be talking about filing for unemployment. I think this is a timely topic given the current state of affairs in the country, and hopefully I'll be able to provide some information that will be helpful. Just as a disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as legal or professional advice, and even though I believe a lot of the information I'm going to provide is reliable, it is not guaranteed. Please seek out information from other sources before making up your own mind on the subjects we're going to be talking about. Now with that, let's get into the number one piece of advice or thing I would like to say about filing for unemployment. Never assume you're ineligible. Let me say that again. Don't assume, never assume. Don't assume you are not eligible until you've talked to someone from the unemployment office. You will hear things from time to time from different people you know, from work, about different laws in different states. You can get unemployment for this, but not for that. No. Don't assume you aren't eligible until you've contacted the unemployment office and talked to them. Always talk to the unemployment office about your eligibility. Now, even though I've said before, and I will say again throughout the video, that you should always contact the unemployment office and get your answer from them before assuming you're not eligible, there are factors that will admittedly be in your favor one way or another when you file for unemployment. If you have been laid off, legitimately laid off due to reduction in force by your company, that will qualify you for unemployment. Even if you've been fired, you will usually be qualified for unemployment unless you are fired due to misconduct. That is the term most unemployment offices in most states go by. You can collect unemployment or qualify for unemployment when you are fired, as long as you're not fired due to misconduct. How broadly do they define misconduct? I'm guessing that probably varies from agency to agency. But in general rule, if you're fired, due to incompetence or your boss just doesn't think you're doing a good job, that sort of thing, that won't necessarily make you ineligible. It's mostly if you're due to, like they say, misconduct, whatever that means. I think some misconduct is probably much easier to define than others. You embezzle a ton of money from the company, yeah, that's definitely misconduct that you shouldn't be able to collect unemployment from your former employer because of that. Also, if you quit, in some cases that may not necessarily make you ineligible, but you're definitely got more of an uphill battle. It's going to be a lot harder to get approved. And I don't even know what criteria they might go by to consider approving you if you quit or resigned. If you and your employer may have a agreement you've signed where you agree to resign in lieu of being fired, and they won't contest your unemployment if they put that in writing, that they don't contest you applying for unemployment benefits, maybe that would be in your favor. I don't know. Like I said, talk to the unemployment office. but those are some basics. Also, in order to qualify for unemployment, you have to be a legitimate employee receiving a W-2 whose taxes, Social Security, Medicare, that sort of thing are being withheld from your paycheck. If you are working for some shady company under the table, or if you're working for somebody under some arrangement where they gave you a 1099 instead of a W-2 because they're trying to save money on how much they have to pay in taxes on your behalf, chances are you're probably not going to be eligible in that case. I think at this point it's probably a little important to explain a little bit about how the unemployment system works as far as how employers pay into it. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about their employer having to pay their unemployment or something along those lines whenever they're looking to apply for unemployment benefits. Or maybe you've even heard of companies who will fight tooth and nail against unemployment claims, and somebody will say they don't ever pay unemployment if they don't have to. Well, technically, it's never up to your company whether or not you qualify for unemployment. It's not up to them in the sense of they don't have the approval of it. That's the workforce department. Your employer pays, or is supposed to be paying, unemployment insurance to the state. That's what it technically is. It's unemployment insurance. And since this is a car channel, let's use the car comparison. If a company has a lot of unemployment claims for some reason, or if they're in an industry that's not doing that good, etc., they're probably going to pay a higher rate in unemployment insurance than maybe, somebody who has a good claim history. Just like how on cars, somebody with a good driving record should be able to get a better insurance rate than somebody who's had a lot of problems in terms of accidents, tickets, etc. So, the only major cost or real cost to the company anytime an unemployment claim is approved by the workforce department is that it's another claim against them to potentially raise their rates and raise the cost of the employee coverage, so to speak. Now, in most states, when you're hired, your employer has to report your employment to the workforce department within a fairly short period of time, probably less than 30 days in most states. And then the workforce department will begin charging them, a premium based on your wages, based on their unemployment insurance rate, that sort of thing. In fact, if you find yourself in the position where you need to file for unemployment after leaving the company, the workforce department will actually have the information on file as far as your earnings, your social security number. They already know it. Hopefully, if you work for any company of any decent size and they're on the up and up, they should be reporting that you work for them. They should be paying into the system and that sort of thing. And by the way, I'm not aware of any size limit for like an employer being too small that they don't have to pay unemployment insurance. I know when I worked for a condo in Arkansas, I was the only employee they had and they still paid it. So obviously, in order to collect unemployment, your employers have to have paid into the system. if you're self-employed or not a real employee, something like that, chances are no one is paying unemployment insurance premiums on your behalf. And therefore, you lose your job, your inability to work, you're not going to be able to collect. I heard a story when I lived in Kansas years ago, actually. Here's something else I guess that could happen, but I hope it doesn't happen. Lady worked at this place, small privately owned business, had a falling out with the boss after a couple of months, went to go file for unemployment. The boss had never reported her that she was employed with her to the workforce department, so she was ineligible. Now you might say to that, well, shouldn't there have been some sort of recourse? Shouldn't they have been able to find the boss? Well, maybe, but I guess that person was out of luck. I don't know what you can do if your boss, your employer has, never filed with the unemployment office that you were working for them like they should have. Maybe you can sue them, but the wheels are going to turn real slow on all of that. So, well, I guess that's all for this video. So, bottom line, remember, always check with the unemployment office. And if you found this video helpful, please click like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.